Josh, can you hear me? Everything good? How's your connection?
So I can hear you sounding, yeah.
Good. Anrich, you fine?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Good. Okay. I know you want to finish as much as I want to finish. Not that I'm going to do anything else. I'm going to go straight into designing some academic material for a module on a course. But that's just how it is. Anrich, I'm pretty sure you're going to. Well, how do you train at the moment, Anrich? I mean, it appears to me that you're very much into gymming and training and stuff like that. I mean, how's your facilities at home, or actually, how's the facilities in Heidelberg? Is there a gym that you can go to at the moment during lockdown?
There is a gym here, but if I want to exercise, I'll go for a walk in the park or do push-ups at home or something like that.
Okay, more that kind of sort of. I'll do it at my own time, in my own pace, my own place.
Yes,
To try and avoid well, to keep social distancing for that matter. I mean, I said to a friend the other day, that was before my knee operation. I said to him, listen, I'm training more than I did before, and I have a gym membership because the effort of actually packing your bag, taking the time 10, 15 minutes to drive to get to the gym, and I'm fortunate I'm very close and there's not a lot of traffic on the road there. Then training and then coming back, and when I'm at home during lockdown, I work and then I train for 15 minutes and then I work for 45 minutes and I train for 15 minutes. So I almost train throughout the day, constantly 10, 15 different 15-minute sessions. And it's definitely more effective because I know that, and I'm a huge fan of high intensity interval training. So I'd much rather push myself in the red up to the point there that I vomit for a short period of time and repeat that a number of times than actually doing an extended session where you're often not that effective, depending obviously on what your objectives are. If I'm training for the comrades, then unfortunately can't do just high interval training. You also need to do high intensity interval training. You also need to obviously, I think, um, get the legs on the road. So yes, I've done both, so I know it's definitely I prefer the high intensity training than the road training for racing a half marathon up to ultra marathon. But let's get back to pricing strategies, people. What are we trying to achieve with this particular session? We want to explain to you and want you to understand the different steps in determining the price of a product, analyze the factors that influence how we determine the price of a product, and then describe the different pricing objectives that we have. That's very important. A popular question that always pops up is the break-even analysis. What is break-even and what is the break-even analysis and when is it used and why is it used? Those are the kind of things that we're going to look at in this next 10, 15 to 20 minutes to finish today's session. But right into it. What is the price? There are different price has different forms. Price obviously is the amount of money that I'm prepared to pay for the product that I want to buy to satisfy my needs, or the service for that matter. And it can, however, take different forms. For some people, interest um, or price could be the interest that they earn on money that they or have to pay on money that they borrowed from the bank, or interest that they earn on the investment that they've made. Price could also be a different form of price could be the rent that you pay for hiring some equipment, or maybe the flat that you stay in. The toll is the fee that you pay for using a specific stretch of road in certain areas. I know in Gauteng that is absolute nightmare and headache for you guys, and we fortunately in Cape Town don't have that issue. I think we only have one, and that's the one here at the in Paul, just before Paul, when you have to go through the tunnel to get on N1 to get to Gauteng from Cape Town to Johannesburg. But you also have an alternative option, and you don't have to pay the toll. You can use the old road, and it's going to take you 10 minutes longer. Still going to go through a tunnel, but yeah, that's what a toll is. A retainer is usually a fee that you pay for professionals like doctors and attorneys. A fare is what you pay for when you Uber and you use a taxi and whatever. Salary, a different form, the price basically that your boss pays you for the service that you have delivered for them in that month. Okay. Right. What's the different steps in the pricing process? You have to obviously identify the constraints and the objectives. In other words, what affects um, how you determine the price and what are your objectives? What do you want to achieve by setting a specific price for a product? Then you are going to set these objectives. You're going to estimate the demand. You're going to be looking at what other options is available. In other words, what other suppliers are there, and look at the revenue that you want to achieve. You're going to determine the cost and the volume and the profit relationships. In other words, the ratios between cost, volume, profit, and expenses. Then you're going to select an appropriate price level. You're going to list a quote, set a list price or a quoted price. Make special adjustments like discounts and stuff like that, or special deals, and then obviously determine the final price. But let's look at each of them individually. Your pricing constraints could be internal or external factors. The internal factors is basically what your business what the objectives of your business is and where you find yourself in that particular product life cycle of the product that you are trying to determine a price for. External factors, and you'll see I'm not going through all the specific elements because I mean it is in the slides, but your external factors could be are your customers prepared to just move from one supplier or leave you to go to a different supplier because the price is cheaper? How many competitors are there? I mean, and the influence they have on price. The more they are, obviously, the greater the competition, and obviously the price would be slightly lower. So there are a few things like legal considerations that you also have to consider when you're determining the price. There are certain regulations that prohibit you from inflating the price and making it too expensive for people, especially when you have a monopoly. So there are definitely internal and external factors, some of them we've mentioned now, that impacts on the price that you want to set. The objectives, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to make a profit? Are you profit orientated? Are you sales orientated? In other words, profit orientated, are you looking at maximizing your profit? Do you want to make as much profit, or are you just trying to increase your number of units that you sell? In other words, you're looking at a sales orientated where turnover will give you a specific percentage growth in the market or market share, for instance. Is that your objective, or are you price that you set going to be similar to that of your competition? You're not going to go into a price war, so there's no price competition. If you're launching a new product, you know that a product similar to this, for instance, the Toyota Corolla is launching their new Toyota Corolla hatch, and similarly, they will probably be competing with a particular VW product, or with the Mazda 3, for instance, or the Mazda X3, for instance, or maybe the Opel Astra, for instance. So you know what those products cost, and you're going to price your product similar to those. So at the end of the day, it becomes an issue of choosing the brand that you want to have and the specific benefits that the product gives you, and not the price. And the price does not become an issue. Estimate your demand, your supply, and your revenue. The demand, obviously, as it says there, the market research done by has gathered information to determine the price range of customers and what are they willing to pay. In other words, there is an indication, and you know pretty much what your particular market that you are targeting are prepared to spend. In other words, that's the demand, and you also know what your competitors what your competitors' prices are, and you know what you want to achieve, either being profit or higher sales volumes, and that can definitely influence how you determine the price. Because if you're not going to enter into a price war, then obviously, basically, your supply and demand is not that great an issue to consider. Um, let's look at that's something that also pops up, your price elasticity, basically referring to responsiveness of the quantity of demand that when the price changes. So there's obviously an inelastic demand when the demand hardly changes when there's a small change in the price, where a realistic demand refers to demands where it changes, um, um, or your demand for a particular product changes considerably when there's a small change. So I think it makes sense if you look at the words inelastic and elastic. If you take an elastic band and you stretch it, then basically it means that it's elastic, so it stretches. Therefore, there's considerable changes when it's a small increase in price. If it's inelastic and it's very difficult to actually stretch it, it means that there's hardly any changes when there's a small change in the price. So if you can use that example to differentiate between an inelastic and an elastic demand, you will you'll go a long way to remember those two concepts. Right. Fourthly, you determine the cost. What's your fixed cost? What's your variable cost? We know that your total cost is your fixed cost plus your variable cost. So in other words, look at what you are going to, what your objective, what your sales objectives are. In other words, what is the revenue that you want to achieve? What is your total cost? That's fixed and variable costs combined, and the difference between the two would be either your profit or your loss. And obviously, you would be trying to make a profit, because most businesses are in business, and they want to sustain and survive and grow and expand, and therefore they have to make a profit. In other words, you have to make more than you actually spend. Select an appropriate price level. Now, there are three different price levels. You can have customer value methods, or cost-based methods, or competition-based methods. Just read through those. It's not very important to know all of those. If you can highlight some of them. For instance, a cost-based methods, because the cost-based methods are the ones that's most popular. The cost plus pricing, for instance. What's your cost to manufacture this product? Plus whatever percentage you want to make. In other words, if you've got a 10% profit that you want to make, you're going to take cost plus 10%. That's what cost pricing specifically means. You've got odd even pricing, for instance. That's quite popular in retail, where you're selling a product for $9.99. It's 10 Rand, people. There's a 1 cent difference, but $9.99 just sounds less expensive than 10 Rand. Okay, all of those that we see in that particular diagram on that particular slide in greater detail, it's explained to you. Okay, but I won't spend too much time on that. Understand also what the difference between price skimming and price penetration pricing is. Price skimming is high prices are set initially, but you lower them over time. So you rather go in high. It's like somebody who's trying to negotiate, and you know what your boundaries are, and then you lower it slightly over time, and people don't even recognize the fact that happens. Right. Set the list price or a quoted price. The list price or a quoted price is the price at which the products or services will be sold to the intermediaries. In other words, like the examples I've showed you there in the bottom corner with that image, cars. The price that Toyota is selling the vehicle to the distributor, to the retailer, to the dealership, that is the list price. Special adjustments refer here to discounts and allowances, for instance, or geographical adjustments, for instance. If you are if your business is located in a specific geographical area, which is very rural and far from the manufacturer. Obviously, they can offer you specific adjustments in price if you order a certain quantity, um, and then it makes it easier for them to deliver because you're in a remote destination to make a delivery of the items to you. Your discounts can be based on quantity or cash discounts. For instance, if you pay cash, you get it's cheaper if you pay cash, for instance, than using credit. Quantities, buy one get one free, very popular one with a lot of restaurants, for instance, and many other companies too. But those are examples of special adjustments that's made to or can be made to the price before the final price is then determined. And once you've considered all these 7 steps that precede step number 8, you will actually then get to your final price. Everybody clear at this stage? Any questions that any of you want to ask? Josh, are you still awake?
I don't have any questions, sir.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you very much. Josh, any questions you have?
Yes, sir. Still awake and here.
You're all good? Right. Guys, in summary, like I said at the beginning of the session, our first session, I will convert these to videos. I will upload it and update the document that's on Moodle. So you can have a look at these Zoom sessions if you want to again, or there's some information that I shared with you that you couldn't remember exactly and just want to double check on it. Like, for instance, your exam dates. As I said previously, your exam dates and your test dates, the test will be written on, and I will, when I finish the work on Thursday, I will indicate to you up to what particular, or up to what chapter the test would be, that the test would cover. Obviously, the exam, the summative that's done on the 8th of February, that would be on all chapters that in this module. So to summarize, the announcement on your exam and your test dates will be available on Moodle this evening when I've uploaded the videos of today's sessions. And then just to confirm again, next Friday, the 5th of February, you will write your test, which is your formative assessment, which is the F3. If you did not get 50% for that particular F3 test, then you have to rewrite it next Friday. And if you have not passed your summative exam, the one that you wrote in June, with 50%, then you will have to write the summative on the 8th, Monday the 8th. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Anything related to the work, people?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No
You're both good?
Yes, sir.
Well then, thank you very much. Thanks for attending. I mean, I can honestly say that it was a very simple question to answer when I was asked yesterday to give feedback to the college on your attendance and your participation and how we are progressing, that everything is going well and that you've attended all the sessions. I don't think it's the case with all the students, and that's why I think they want to know that, obviously, and for quality assurance purposes too. But thanks very much. Thanks for taking time out on a Tuesday afternoon to listen to me. I can sometimes ramble off, but mostly I stay on the subject. So please, if I'm off subject, tell me about it. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the day. Go train, go run around the block, go walk in the mountains, go do whatever you have to do. You deserve a break now, a proper break. And then I will see you again on Thursday, which is the 6th period, which is 3 o'clock, if nothing else happens. Okay. Good, guys. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, sir.
Keep well, eh?
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
nice day.
You too.
Thank you, Josh.
Okay, bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.